The Unity spire floated in the cold emptiness of the Andromeda sector, silent and still like a forgotten monument. Once, it had been the heart of the Galactic Council, a place where hundreds of species met, debated, and dreamed of peace. Now it was just a shell, abandoned, dark, and drifting. William Wilson guided his small salvage ship through the debris field that surrounded the station. His hands moved over the controls with calm precision, the glow of the console reflecting off his tired eyes. He had been here before, but never this deep into the spire's orbit. This time, he wasn't looking for parts. He was looking for answers. The docking clamps clicked shut as a ship attached to one of the old hangar bays. William suited up and stepped out. The station groaned with age as he moved through its hollow halls. Rusted panels, cracked viewports, and floating dust told the story of a place forgotten by time. He turned on his wrist light and walked through the central corridor. He passed faded banners, symbols of the Council's member worlds, now dim and meaningless. In the main chamber, he stopped. This was once the Earth Council seat, marked by a circle of tall glass pillars. Each represented a voice, a vote, a vision. Earth's pillars stood cracked and dim, its light gone. William pulled a datapad from his satchel. He had an old code, one he had kept hidden since Earth pulled out of the Council years ago. He entered it into the control panel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a faint hum echoed through the room. A hidden console rose slowly from the floor beneath the Earth pillar. Dust floated in the air like tiny stars as William leaned in. The screen flickered to life, showing a single message. For William Wilson, eyes only. His breath caught. The message was from Ambassador Ilara Miles, Earth's last representative to the Council, and his former mentor. She had vanished when Earth went silent. He opened the file. A tired face appeared on the screen. Ilara's image looked directly at him. Her voice was calm, but her eyes held fear. William, if you're seeing this, Earth is gone from the stars. We didn't leave because we wanted to. We left because we had no choice. William stared, frozen. The message was damaged. Parts skipped and glitched. But he heard fragments that chilled him. The threat is real. The Council couldn't stop it. We chose isolation. Forgive us. The message ended with a set of coordinates and a single line of text. Find a vault. The truth must survive. William stood in silence. He felt a heavy weight settle on his shoulders. Earth had known something terrible, and walked away without warning. Now the galaxy had paid the price. The Council had collapsed. War, piracy, and fear had spread in its place. He downloaded the coordinates. The vault was hidden on a moon in the dead zone. He didn't know what he would find there, but he knew one thing. He had to go. As he turned to leave, a shadow moved in the far corridor. He wasn't alone. The lights in Unity's spire flickered as William stepped away from the old console. The echo of his footsteps followed him through the hollow corridor. The message from Ilara Miles played over and over in his mind. Her voice, once steady and full of hope, had been filled with fear. That fear was real now, heavy in the stale air around him. He gripped the data pad tightly. The coordinates she had left pointed to a moon far beyond the Council's old reach. If what she said was true, the vault might hold the answer to Earth's sudden withdrawal and the collapse that followed. As William made his way back toward the hangar, a soft clang echoed behind him. He stopped, turned, nothing but darkness. He took a slow step forward, scanning the corridor. A faint sound, like metal scraping metal, came from the vents above. His hand moved to the sidearm at his belt, more for comfort than safety. He had faced scavengers before, but Unity Spire was supposed to be empty. "Who's there?" he called out. Silence. Then a voice, low and sharp, echoed from behind a nearby support beam. "Drop the pad." William turned sharply, pointing his light. A figure stepped out from the shadows. A woman, her jumpsuit torn at the sleeves, eyes alert and cautious. She held a small energy pistol pointed directly at him. William didn't move. "I'm not here to fight." "You're from Earth," she said, eyes narrowing. "That message, was it for you?" He slowly lowered his weapon. "Yes. My name is William Wilson. I used to serve with the ambassador before the withdrawal." She kept her pistol up, but didn't shoot. Prove it. He accessed the pad and pulled up an old identification file. His council credentials, long deactivated but still visible. The woman lowered her weapon slightly. Rena Voss, she said, stepping closer. Used to be council tech. Stayed behind after the spire shut down. Guess I didn't want to believe it was really over. William looked at her, curious. You've been living here all this time? Off and on, she said. There's still power in parts of the station. Enough to scrape by. He nodded. Then maybe we can help each other. I have a location. A vault. It might hold answers. Rena studied him for a long moment, then sighed. If it's for Miles, it's important. I knew her. She wasn't the type to leave things unfinished. Together, they returned to the Earth terminal. William played the message again. Rena leaned in, her face grim as she listened. When it ended, she said, That vault, it's not just storage. If the ambassador sent it off-grid, it's because she knew the council couldn't protect the truth. William agreed. Then we find it. Maybe we still have time to fix some of this. They made their way back to the hangar. Rena led him to an old maintenance shuttle she'd kept hidden in a lower bay. It was battered and barely operational, but it could fly. As they began prepping the shuttle, William couldn't help but think back to the early days of the council. Peace had felt possible then. People believed in unity. He had believed in it too. But Earth's silence had broken everything. Rena's voice pulled him from his thoughts. You really think the truth can fix this mess? William looked at her. No, but maybe it can stop it from getting worse. The shuttle's engines rumbled to life, weak but steady. William entered the coordinates. The vault waited on a frozen moon deep in the dead zone, an area with no signals, no traffic, and no law. As they lifted off from Unity's spire, the stars stretched wide around them. William stared out at the darkness ahead. For the first time in years, he felt purpose. He didn't know what waited for them out there, but he knew they had to go. The shuttle rattled as it broke through the edge of the Andromeda sector. Its systems were old, patched together from spare parts and salvaged tech, but Rena kept it steady. William sat beside her, eyes fixed on the navigation display. The coordinates to the vault pointed toward a lifeless moon in the dead zone, unmapped, cold, and silent. The message from Ambassador Miles echoed in his thoughts. We didn't leave because we wanted to. We left because we had no choice. What kind of threat could force an entire planet to abandon the galaxy? He didn't have an answer yet, but he was sure of one thing. Whatever it was, Earth had kept it hidden. As they entered deep space, the stars grew brighter, more distant. Outside, there were no signals, no beacons, just the hum of the ship and the quiet tension between the two travelers. Rena broke the silence. This moon, it's not on any council star charts. Why would Earth hide something this far out? Because they didn't want anyone to find it, William said. They wanted the galaxy to forget. She nodded slowly, then turned her attention back to the controls. We'll be in range in about 6 hours. Get some rest. You look like you haven't slept in days. William tried, but sleep wouldn't come. Instead, he stood near the ship's side window, watching the stars glide past. In the distance, faint lights flickered, too sharp, too organized. Not stars. Ships. Rena's alarm went off a moment later. We got incoming. William rushed to the cockpit. On the display, a formation of warships had appeared behind them, sleek, dark, and aggressive. Their signal code flashed in red across the screen. Dominion Fleet, Flagship, Tyrant's Reach. Virek Sol, William Mutard. Rena's voice tightened. You know him. By name. He leads what's left of the old Council's security force. Except now, he uses it to seize territory and control trade routes. He doesn't believe in peace. Only power. The comms channel crackled to life. A cold voice came through. Unregistered shuttle. You're trespassing in Dominion space. Power down and prepare to be boarded. William responded calmly. This is a peaceful vessel. We're not carrying weapons or cargo. The voice didn't change. You're carrying something more dangerous. Hope. I know who you are, William Wilson, and I know what you're looking for. Turn back, or be destroyed. The channel cut. Rena cursed under her breath. He's not bluffing. He must have tracked us from the spire. William made a decision. We don't run. Not yet. The shuttle couldn't fight. not against warships. But it had something the Dominion didn't expect: stealth. Divert power from the beacon systems, he said. Shut down everything but life support and manual flight. Let's vanish. Rena didn't argue. The lights dimmed, the engines fell quiet, and the shuttle drifted into the shadows of a nearby asteroid field. From the viewport, William watched as the Dominion ships scanned the area. They moved slowly, searching. Hold steady, he whispered. One of the ships passed dangerously close. The hull trembled under its gravity pull. But after a tense few minutes, the warships veered off, turning toward another sector. Silence returned. Rena exhaled. That was too close. William nodded. Now we know. They're watching, and they're afraid of what we might find. As the shuttle powered back up, the moon finally came into view. A pale, icy world spinning alone in space. That's our vault, William said. Rena stared at the screen. What kind of secret needs this much protection? I don't know, he said, but we're going to find out. The shuttle began its descent. Below them, the frozen surface of the moon waited, quiet, undisturbed, and hiding the truth Earth had buried long ago. The shuttle cut through the thin atmosphere of the frozen moon like a whisper. Below, the icy surface stretched out in every direction, endless, white, and still. Jagged mountains rose in the distance, their peaks like broken teeth. There were no lights, no signs of life, just cold silence. William adjusted the controls as they descended toward the coordinates. The shuttle landed with a soft crunch, ice hissing under the landing gear. A cloud of frost swirled around them. Rena powered down the engines. If the Dominion tracked us here, we won't get another chance. We find the vault, take what we need, and go. William nodded. He slipped on his cold suit and stepped into the snow. The air was thin and sharp, but breathable. They walked across the frozen ground, following the signal from the datapad. The tracker showed a weak pulse, a buried structure about 300 meters ahead. As they moved, the wind picked up. It howled over the ridge, carrying fine crystals that sparkled like dust. William shielded his eyes. Rena moved ahead, focused. After 20 minutes, they reached a raised patch of ice. A small, rectangular shape jutted out. A thick metal hatch, half frozen, marked with the faded seal of Earth's diplomatic corps. This is it, Williams said quietly. Rena knelt beside it and wiped away the frost. She tapped into a small panel. It flickered, barely alive. It's locked, but the access code from the pad should still work. She entered the code. The hatch groaned and opened slowly, revealing a narrow stairway descending into the darkness. They entered the vault. Inside, the temperature dropped even lower. The walls were lined with frozen metal, covered in frost and ice. Old lights flickered to life as they moved forward, casting long shadows. In the center of the room was a tall, sealed data core, about the size of a person. It was connected to an ancient power source that still pulsed faintly with energy. William approached it. This must be the cache. Rena examined the console. It's encrypted, Earth-level clearance only, but your ID might still work. He entered his credentials from the datapad. The system paused. Then the core lit up, and a soft voice echoed through the room. Welcome, William Wilson. Access granted. A series of holograms appeared, flickering above the console. They showed images of deep space, unknown star systems, strange anomalies, and readings of energy spikes. Then came a voice, Alara Miles again. This is the truth Earth could not share, she said. During our final deep-range scans, we detected a force beyond the edge of the galaxy. Intelligent, ancient, and spreading. William stared at the data. The scan showed entire star systems disappearing, absorbed by an unknown energy. Alara continued. The Council dismissed the threat, said it was a glitch, but we knew better. We couldn't stop it. So Earth made a choice to isolate and prepare, to survive while the galaxy fell. Rena looked at him. They ran. They hid, Williams said, and they left everyone else behind. The hologram ended with one final message. If you're watching this, the threat is still out there. The Council is gone, but there's still time to unite what's left, or the galaxy will vanish, one system at a time. Silence followed. William stepped back. His heart pounded. The truth was worse than he imagined. Earth hadn't just quit. They had known everything and said nothing. Rena looked at him, her voice low. If we release this, people will panic. I know, William said, but maybe panic is better than silence. At least people will know. At least they can choose. Before Rena could respond, a warning alarm beeped on her scanner. Multiple signals. Incoming. William rushed to the surface. In the sky above, streaks of fire cut through the clouds. Dominion sheeps. They had found them. The frozen wind screamed over the ridge as William and Rena rushed back toward the shuttle. Above them, fire streaked across the pale sky. Dominion dropships pierced the clouds, their engines glowing red against the gray light of the moon. They moved fast, guided by precision. William didn't need to guess who had sent them. Virek Sol. The moment they reached the shuttle, Rena activated the engines. The old machine whined in protest, but came to life. William threw the hatch shut behind him and locked it. Can we get out of here? He asked. Not fast, she said, but maybe far. They lifted off, skimming low over the ice. Behind them, Dominion ships touched down and deployed troops. Dark figures spreading across the white plains like ink on paper. Rena glanced at the scanner. We've got one shot. There's a canyon system northwest. We can hide there. If they lose line of sight, we might be able to run. William nodded. Do it. The shuttle banked hard, frost shaking from its sides. They dove toward the ridges, weaving through narrow cliffs and deep shadows. Laser fire cracked behind them, slicing through the air. In the cockpit, alarms blared. The shields were failing. A single hit could bring them down. William looked at the data pad in his lap. It held everything. The scans, the voice messages, the evidence of the ancient force Earth had hidden. The truth. The cause of the collapse. Why are they so afraid of this? Rena shouted over the noise. Because it proves they're wrong, William said. Virex believes control is the only way to keep the galaxy from falling apart. This truth shows we were already falling before he even started. The shuttle took a hit. The rear engine flared, and smoke filled the back cabin. We're not going to make it much farther, Rena said. Then we don't run, William said, standing. We finish this now. He went to the back of the shuttle, opened a secure line, and uploaded the vault data to a hidden relay satellite. It would take time to transmit, but once it started, the signal couldn't be stopped. Every former council system would receive it. Rena turned in her seat. You're sending it now? Yes. We can't keep this secret. And what if the galaxy panics? What if it makes everything worse? William looked at her. Then it does. But they deserve to know. The people who lost everything when the council fell, they deserve to understand why. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she turned back to the controls and whispered, Okay. Suddenly, the shuttle jolted. The comms crackled. A voice, sharp and calm, filled the cabin. William Wilson, said Virek Sol. I am impressed. Few people have ever escaped me twice. William stepped forward, pressing the comms button. Then maybe you're not as powerful as you think. You've seen the truth, Virek said. You know it can't help anyone. It will only cause chaos. Fear. Va. Or maybe it will bring people together again. Virex's tone hardened. Hope is a dangerous lie. Give me the data, and I'll spare your lives. William didn't flinch. No. A pause. Then you've made your choice, Virex said. Outside, another Dominion ship opened fire. Rena turned the shuttle sharply, diving into the canyon. The walls around them shook as explosions ripped through the cliffs. But the relay was already working. The data had launched. It's done, William said. It's out there now. Rena smiled faintly, gripping the controls. Then let's make sure we live to see what happens next. The shuttle burst from the canyon mouth, smoke trailing behind it. Dominion ships gave chase, but they were too late. The truth had been sent. Now the galaxy would decide what to do with it. The stars stretched wide and cold around the damaged shuttle as it limped through open space. Inside, lights flickered. Systems sparked. Smoke curled from the back cabin, where the engine had taken a direct hit. But the ship was still flying. Just barely. William sat in the co-pilot seat, staring at the small monitor on the console. A blinking green icon marked the signal status. The vault data had been uploaded. The message had been sent. And now it was out his hands. Across the galaxy, old Council satellites and relay beacons had picked up the broadcast. William imagined it reaching abandoned stations, fractured colonies, and war-torn worlds. He could almost hear it, Miles' voice echoing through the stars. This is the truth Earth could not share. He looked at Rena. She was pale and exhausted, hands locked tightly on the controls. Her eyes didn't move from the flight path. "We need a place to land," she said. "Somewhere out of Dominion range." "There's a repair station on the edge of Sector Theta," William said. "It was neutral during the Council Wars. Maybe it still is." Rena nodded without a word. The weight of what they had done pressed heavily in the silence. For hours, the shuttle crawled across the void. No Dominion ships followed. Not yet, but the real battle had already begun, out there far beyond their view. On one of the secondary screens, incoming transmissions began to pour in. William tapped into them, his heart pounding. One came from a small outpost orbiting a gas giant. "We thought Earth abandoned us for power. Now we know they left in fear. We deserve better." Another from a fleet commander near the Orion Drift. "The data confirms energy readings we've been seeing for years. The Council ignored us. Earth knew. You've done the right thing." A third message was more uncertain. "If what you say is true, then we're all in danger. What do we do now?" William leaned back in his seat. "They're listening," he said quietly. "They're afraid," Rena replied. "But maybe that's a start." A warning tone cut through the moment. New ships had entered long-range scan range. William quickly checked the readings. These weren't Dominion ships. Smaller, scattered. Civilian class. Old Council signatures. Rena looked surprised. "Are they responding to the broadcast?" "I think so," he said. "They're not organized, not yet. But they're moving. Maybe to find each other. Maybe to stand together again." The screen blinked again. A new message appeared from the edge of Council space. "The truth hurts, but it opens our eyes. We're ready to talk. Ready to rebuild." Rena stared at the words. "Do you think it's possible? After everything?" "I don't know," William answered. "But someone has to try." The shuttle finally neared the repair station. It was old and half-abandoned, its lights dim, its structure patched together like everything else in the galaxy. But it welcomed them in. No questions asked. Inside the station hangar, mechanics guided the shuttle down. William stood at the edge of the ramp as it opened. For the first time in years, he felt the cold air of a station that didn't belong to anyone. Neutral, unclaimed, free. He stepped out, looking at the broken walls, the flickering lights, and the few tired faces that watched him with quiet curiosity. One by one, they approached pilots, traders, refugees. They had heard the message. They had questions. They had hope. William spoke simply. "We were lied to. We were left in the dark. But now we know. And we still have time to change what comes next." They listened. Later, William found a quiet corner and sat down. He looked out the viewport at the stars. Somewhere out there, Virexol would be watching. Furious, but powerless to stop the signal now. Beside William, Rena leaned on the railing. "You've started something big. Not just me," he said. "Everyone who listens. Everyone who chooses not to be afraid." He stared at the stars a moment longer. "We lit the signal. Now we see who answers." The stars over Earth were the same as William remembered. Bright, cold, and distant. But everything else had changed. His shuttle hovered just beyond the orbital perimeter of the silent blue planet. Earth was locked behind its defense network, a web of satellites and stations with no open channels, no friendly signals. From up here, it looked peaceful, but the quiet held weight. It was the silence of isolation, of a world that had turned its back on the galaxy. William sat in the cockpit, staring at the planet below. Rena stood behind him, arms crossed, her expression unreadable. "You think they'll answer?" she asked quietly. "I don't know," he replied. "They've been silent for years. But maybe now." He keyed into the shuttle's long-range broadcast system. His fingers hovered for a second over the interface. Then he began to speak, his voice steady, calm, and clear. "This is William Wilson, former aide to Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council. I'm transmitting from orbit. I know you're listening, even if you won't answer. You left without warning, without explanation. The galaxy broke because of it. But we've found the truth. The vault, the data, Alara Miles' final message. We sent it. The galaxy knows now. They understand why you left. People are scared, angry, but they're also ready. They want to talk, to rebuild. You were afraid Earth wouldn't survive if it stayed. But if you stay silent now, we all might not survive. He paused, then added, it's not too late. The galaxy hasn't given up. Don't let Earth be the last world to rise again. He ended the transmission and leaned back in his seat. There was no reply, just the soft hum of the ship. An hour passed. Then two. Nothing. Rena didn't speak. She sat across from him, flipping through a handheld monitor filled with incoming messages. The broadcast from the vault was still spreading. New systems were responding, scattered fleets, colony councils, resistance groups. They were forming something like the old council, but looser, raw, still uncertain. Then a signal blinked on William's console. He leaned forward quickly. It wasn't from Earth. It was from a ship, a small, old diplomatic cruiser. Civilian class. No weapons. Earth registry. The voice came through after a pause. A woman, tired but firm. This is Captain Mila Arden of the vessel Silver Echo. We received your signal. We're not an official voice for Earth, but we remember what the council meant. We're ready to listen. Maybe help. William's breath caught. Rena smiled faintly. It's a start. More signals came in. A scout ship from one of the moons of Celta Prime. A freighter crew from the old border worlds. A refugee convoy that had survived the Dominion raids. One by one, they answered. They didn't come in strength. Not yet. But they came with purpose. Ships appeared on the radar. Small dots against the black. Civilian, military, diplomatic. Some old, some newer. They gathered slowly in Earth's orbit, holding formation. Not to fight, to talk. William stepped out of the shuttle onto the docking platform of a nearby relay station. He watched from the edge, the cold air pressing against his skin. The galaxy was still wounded, still fractured, but now it was stirring again, waking from a long silence. Rena joined him. You think they'll come back? The real Earth government. William looked at the ships gathering in orbit. They'll have to, he said. The galaxy is moving forward, with or without them. He pulled a small transmitter from his coat and left one final message. This time not to the galaxy, but to Earth itself. The door is open. Don't let it close again. He placed the transmitter on the platform and walked away. Behind him, ships continued to arrive. The stars shined quietly. Hope had returned.